What if I told you that one of the most beloved comedy stars of the 1970s and 1980s, someone who seemed destined for an untouchable Hollywood career, ended up as one of the most disliked men in the industry? Chevy Chase went from being the funniest man in America to a figure his colleagues could barely stand to work with, and the reasons why reveal a shocking downfall few fans ever saw coming. Chevy Chase rose to fame in the mid-1970s as part of the original cast of Saturday Night Live. His sharp wit, perfect timing, and ability to deliver sarcastic one-liners made him an instant star. Audiences loved his bumbling Weekend Update anchor and his knack for physical comedy. Almost overnight, Chase became the breakout star of SNL, and soon Hollywood came calling. With films like Caddyshack, National Lampoon's Vacation, and Fletch, Chase cemented himself as one of the kings of comedy. At his peak, he was not just popular, he was iconic. But behind the scenes, the story was far less glamorous. Chase quickly developed a reputation for arrogance, temperamental behavior, and alienating his co-stars. Even in his earliest days on SNL, there were whispers that he wasn't a team player. Fellow cast members resented what they saw as an inflated ego, and his departure after just one season was no coincidence. Chase was already clashing with his colleagues, believing his talent put him above the rest. As his movie career exploded, so did the stories of difficult behavior. Directors and actors began sharing tales of Chase being hard to work with, dismissive of others, and even cruel at times. His sharp humor, which audiences found funny on screen, often came across as mean-spirited in real life. For many, Chase wasn't just playing a sarcastic character, he was that character, and not in a charming way. The turning point came decades later when Chase attempted a comeback on the hit TV show Community. Fans were excited to see him return to television, but behind the scenes, history repeated itself. Cast members and the show's creator, Dan Harmon, quickly found him unbearable to work with. Reports surfaced of heated arguments, on-set outbursts, and an inability to collaborate. While audiences initially loved his role as Pierce Hawthorne, the tension between Chase and the cast grew so toxic that his time on the show ended in bitterness and public embarrassment. What shocked many was how openly other actors criticized him. Former co-stars, from SNL castmates to members of Community, spoke out about his behavior, describing him as unkind, difficult, and even toxic. In an industry where stars often protect one another, Chase became an outlier. The floodgates opened, and suddenly the man once hailed as a comedy genius was remembered more for his cruelty than his craft. And yet, there's another layer to this story. Some argue that Chase was a victim of his own fame. A man who shot to stardom so quickly that he never adjusted to the pressures of celebrity. His sarcasm and arrogance, while damaging, may have also been defenses against insecurity. It's a tragic irony. The same qualities that made him funny on screen ultimately sabotaged his career off-screen. Today, Chevy Chase remains a complicated figure. To older fans, he is still the king of classic comedy, the face of Vacation and Caddyshack. To many in Hollywood, however, he's the cautionary tale of what happens when talent and ego collide. His story is not just about jokes, movies, or sitcoms. It's about how quickly an entire industry can turn on someone once the mask slips. In the end, everyone turned on Chevy Chase not because he lost his comedic gift, but because the man behind the humor proved far harder to laugh with than the characters he played. And now, decades later, the truth is clear: Hollywood never forgets, and in Chevy Chase's case, it certainly never forgave.